What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego back with some more boxing. I watched the Joseph Agbeko Guillermo Rigondeaux fight, and it was just like I predicted. Joseph Agbeko coming off a long layoff, he wasn't ready for a Rigondeaux, and I told you that. And Rigondeaux is just the truth. He's the ultimate chess player, and he did what he had to do. He won a unanimous decision against Agbeko, who by no means is a pushover. He's not a slouch or a bum. Um, he has basically respectable resume. Been in there with Darchinian, been in there with Abner Mares twice, and other people. And he's solid all the way around. Plus, he was getting trained by Roger Mayweather, and I knew Roger Mayweather wouldn't be the deciding factor in this fight. There's there's one thing that people fail to realize. This whole I'm gonna partner with this trainer and this trainer, like that really doesn't do shit. Maybe, just maybe, if someone is the ultimate student and they're willing to listen, you can eventually erase some bad habits. But things like that come from repetition, and a lot of these fighters are so stuck and dead set in their ways, and they learn whatever style and picked up whatever bad habits they picked up from the amateurs all the way up, and a lot of them are mid 20s or later. They're dead set in their ways. It's kind of like, have you ever met like an old person and they don't believe in technology or they don't believe in this and that? Like, oh, I'm not getting a new TV or a Blu-ray player or iPod because they're from the old school. They're already dead set in their ways. You can plead with them, you can beg, and they probably won't budge. And that's how these fighters are. Again, I'm not saying the need to change trainers. Or, hey, if you feel that's gonna help you win fights, so be it. But I think a lot of people flock to these star trainers, and at the end of the ring, or at the end of the day, it's only you and another opponent in the ring. So the trainer can only do so much. There are trainers that um, have a lot of experience. They can give you the right advice. They know how to motivate you, and there are some things that the trainer can do. But I just knew Roger Mayweather wasn't gonna be able to um, give Agbeko what he needed to beat Rigondeaux. And that's not a diss to Roger Mayweather, because no trainer, I feel, in that amount of time would be able to give Agbeko the keys to victory, um, unless, like I said, Rigondeaux like slouched and didn't take him seriously or something like that. But props to Rigondeaux, like I said, doing what he did, and he made Agbeko gun shy, really hesitant and apprehensive to throw punches, which is something only a select few can do. And people need to realize that Rigondeaux is an anomaly. He's not a fighter like you see every day. He comes with tons of amateur experience, and that's obviously translating into the professionals, because this guy has 12, 13 fights, and he's taken on tough competition in his last two fights, and he's making it look easy. And the crazy thing about a fighter like Rigondeaux is sometimes people are too good for their own good. What I mean by that is Rigondeaux is such a master boxer to the point where people blame him when the opponent looks like shit. Oh, he's a boring fighter. He's running. He's scared to engage. No, he's doing what he has to do to control and dictate the fight, the pace of the fight. And it's not his fault if his opponent can't cut the ring off on him, if his opponent is afraid to let his hands go and he wants to keep his hands up high and want to keep his hands up at home because he's afraid to get countered all night and pot shotted. That's not Rigondeaux's fault. People underestimate what it takes to do that. Like I see why people compare him to Mayweather. They don't fight exactly the same. Like Rigondeaux doesn't do the shoulder roll all the time and all that, but there are similarities, and a lot of the similarities stem from what they do to opponents. They take their opponent's best weapons and nullify it to the point where it's rendered useless. They make their apparent like their opponents worried to to let their hands go because they're quick. You know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather, Rigondeaux, they have quick reflexes. And these opponents are afraid, like Robert Guerrero, if you watch the fight, he didn't let his hands go. But with Berto, just the fight before, he was letting his hands go. He was putting together a succession of punches, combinations, and he was acting fearless. Berto also has speed, but he doesn't have the accuracy and the timing that Mayweather has. So when you watch Andre Berto and Robert Guerrero, you're like, damn, Robert Guerrero's doing good in the Berto fight. And then later on in the Mayweather fight, after the first 3 rounds, it was the Floyd Mayweather show. But it takes a special fighter to do that. It's not just by chance that these people aren't letting their hands go, or they're not in good shape, or they had a horrible training camp, so all of a sudden they don't want to engage. It takes a special fighter to do that, and that's what Rigondeaux displayed. Joseph Agbeko, I really didn't give him any rounds. Rigondeaux pitched a shutout. He had he had Agbeko scared to engage. He was afraid of. He looked like he sold out just to not get knocked out. Like he was willing to not engage and not go for broke and take the risk to get Rigondeaux out of there or try to hurt him just to save face so he doesn't get knocked out. That's, to me, what I seen as the fight progressed. Agbeko was just content not getting ultimately embarrassed and knocked out. So he was just content going to the distance. And like I said, some people were going to disagree, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And Agbeko is still he has potential to beat people out there. Let's not mistake that. It's just he's not beating Rigondeaux, and that's the thing about it. So a lot of people are going to underestimate Rigondeaux's performance or what it takes to do that to an opponent or frustrate an opponent that bad or make him that gun shy. But it actually takes a great boxer, speed, reflexes, fast processing of information. Rigondeaux, he didn't move as much in this fight. He actually stayed in the pocket more than he did in the Nonito Donaire fight, which makes a little bit more sense to me. Of course, you're going to use a little bit more lateral movement. This, at the time, the Nonito Donaire fight was the biggest fight, and it still could be on Rigondeaux's resume, to the point where why would you want to take an unnecessary gamble and stay in the pocket with them from a guy who's ranked in the top 10 the pound for pound list, who's known for power, who's much bigger than you physically. I mean, has speed. Nonito Donaire has a left hook, a crazy left hook. Why would you gamble like that? And see, this is the other thing. People are going to say, oh, Rigondeaux, he didn't get his opponent out of there. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to knock everybody out. And for the same reason Pacquiao got knocked out in his Marquez fight, the fourth fight, where he was actually winning the last 2 rounds, like convincingly. Not every fighter is willing to do that. Not everyone's going to like, oh yeah, let me get knocked out in the process of trying to knock you out. Ask any trainer, ask any boxer. I forgot who I seen, somebody recently, but it was a trainer, and they said the quickest way to get knocked out is trying to force a knockout. And it's true. I mean, if you're that anxious to knock someone out instead of waiting for it to come, then you might let your guard down in the process and get knocked out yourself. So Rigondeaux's doing what he did. He had his man cornered and scared, and if Agbeko chose to open up, then he probably would have got knocked out, and that's why he didn't do it, or he probably would have got TKO'd or whatever. So all he could do is keep fighting at his pace, and if his opponent doesn't want to engage, his opponent doesn't want to let his hands go, have that high work rate out of fear of being countered to death, then that's his opponent's problem. If he let his hands go, then there's a high chance that Agbeko would get knocked out or TKO'd or embarrassed worse, because Rigondeaux is quick as fuck, and that's really what it is. And in fact, speaking of Pacquiao, you guys could call me crazy, but if Pacquiao and Rigondeaux were the same weight, like if Rigondeaux comfortably made welterweight and were to fight Pacquiao, that is the exact type of fighter that would give Pacquiao fucking problems, nightmares. Um, Pacquiao does better with fighters who come at him, like the Brandon Rioses of the world, David Diaz, the Margaritos. They come in a straight line, not much head movement. You know what they're gonna do. You know their MO, and they're easy to figure out. Rigondeaux, not so much. He's a puzzle. He's not gonna give you one look. He's gonna have punches from all angles. He's gonna stand in the pocket. He's going to give you lateral movement. He's gonna sidestep you. He's gonna slip punches. He's gonna bob and weave. He's going to show his speed. That's the type of fighter that's going to give Pacquiao problems. So if Rigondeaux was in the same weight class and they had similar statistics and height and reach and stuff like that, Rigondeaux would give Pacquiao severe problems. But props to Rigondeaux. He did what he had to do against Agbeko. People aren't going to all be happy. A lot of boxing purists like Rigondeaux. Some others don't. But again, you need to fault Agbeko for not going for broke when he's clearly down. Let him take the risk. He's the one that needs to take the risk. A lot of people get on here and talk shit about, oh, he should have did this, and it's for the fans and shit. And when these fighters get brain damage or fall the fuck off like Arturo Gatti did, to the point where he's not winning his big matches and he's losing to lesser fighters, like he lost to Alfonso Gomez, someone he was more than capable of beating in his prime. Then the fans are nowhere to be heard. You know what I'm saying? So fuck the fans that think like that. Like, oh, why didn't Rigondeaux just take the risk to try to knock him out? Like, why does he have to? He's handedly peppering Agbeko with everything in the book, every shot. He was showing body work, and he had Agbeko scared. So why does he need to take the risk? The opponent who's losing needs to take the risk. People are stupid. Some of you guys get on here and talk that nonsense. Like, if the Patriots played today, they played the Cleveland Browns. They were down by 14 points in the fourth quarter, so they went for an onside kick. Do you see the Browns or the team that's ahead going for an onside kick when they're dominating or when they're winning by 2 touchdowns? No. Why the fuck would you go for an onside kick when you're up by 2 touchdowns and the fourth quarter is dwindling down? Like, it doesn't make sense. But in boxing, we have stupid fucking fans who this is what they request. You're up by the 2 touchdowns and they still want you to do the onside kick. You're up by all 11 rounds and they want you to fight stupid and put your hands down and fight a reckless fight for their sake, to go toe to toe and try to knock someone out. Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But again, props to Rigondeaux. He's definitely the truth. Nonito, I just don't see him beating Rigondeaux, especially with his mentality. And if he's getting chopped up by Vic Darchinyan, no way. So if Nonito were to beat Rigondeaux, he has to come in just really focused, really ready, great training camp, and just cover all his bases. But looking like he did in the Vic Darchinyan fight, dude will get hit with them lasers again and start moonwalking in the 12th round. I just really see that. So props to Rigondeaux for executing his game plan, doing what he had to do. I mean, he's a threat. Anybody down in them lower weight classes, he's a threat. I don't know if he's anxious to move up, but I don't really see too many people fucking with him at 122. Let me know what you guys think of Rigondeaux. What's next for him? Who do you want to see him fight? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.